Good day everybody, thanks for joining us. My name is Travis Van Cleef, and today we're going to be looking at the Autodesk BIM curriculum. But before we do that, I just want to kind of go over the agenda and what we're going to be taking a look at in a little bit further detail. So as you can see here, we're going to be going over who is iDESIGN Solutions and what we do, what is BIM and why use it, and then why use Autodesk BIM Solution. Then we're going to navigate through the BIM curriculum and take a look at what's new and the different disciplines within. And then we're going to take a little bit of time to look at Autodesk 360, the education community, and hopefully answer a few questions if we have time at the end. So that said, let's move forward. So who is iDESIGN Solutions? iDESIGN Solutions is a value-added reseller for the education market. And you might recognize some of these logos. We support Autodesk, Object, Vex Robotics, Wacom, and as you can see below, a number of other names to provide the best solutions we can for our customers. So if you're ever interested in any of these products, don't be shy, give us a call. As you can see along the bottom, our number is here, or you can call sales at email sales at idesignsols.com. We also offer other solutions as in training support and online resources for our customers. So if you're ever interested in reading something about Revit or taking a look at a quick video, you can come to these websites as well. We have a YouTube channel, we have a blog, a Facebook page. So I'll just navigate over to those quickly. Take a quick look. Here's an idea as to what our Facebook page looks like. You can get that at facebook.com/iDesignSOL. Or if you're interested in video content, you can come to youtube.com/iDesignSOL. And as you can see here, there's a quick 8-minute video on how to create spiral staircases in Revit Architecture 2012 and 2013. And last but not least, our website you can find at iDesignSOL.com. And if you're looking for the blog, it's the last listing on the top navigation. So in here you'll find lots of different articles on our various products, as well as some tutorial postings about, say, Revit, Inventor, AutoCAD. So here you'll see some of the more recent posts. Okay. And last but not least, don't forget to subscribe. If you want to keep this in your inbox, you can hit the feeds button on our blog, or you can subscribe to our YouTube channel, and it will give you automatic updates when they come out. So what is BIM and why use it? Well, BIM differs from AutoCAD or CAD, computer-aided drafting, in the fact that when you're doing drafting, you're typically only drawing in 2D, and the objects that you create are for one view and one view only. So when you draw a door in plan view, that's great for that floor plan, but you still have to draw that same door in elevation or in section for those particular views. BIM differs in the fact that instead of drawing objects, you're using predefined data, which are called families in BIM, and you're using those to build a database. So the database is referenced for floor plans, sections, elevations, details, even schedules, and other data that you can grab from your BIM model, and it's all updated parametrically live while you're working on the model. So why is BIM better? There's a multitude of reasons. The most obvious ones are BIM is quicker, BIM is more accurate, and can be used for more than just building. So that said, you can take a building design and build that building from the design, and then the design becomes essentially a stack of papers, never to be used again until maybe a rebuild or a demo or an addition. But with a BIM model, you're actually able to take that model and take it one step further. You can use it in your operations and maintenance, and it extends the life cycle of your design. You can use it for estimating and quantity surveying, In the project management phases, you can use it for clash detection, and this makes it a very powerful tool because it prevents making mistakes on site. Those mistakes, or you can catch those clashes in the design phase and save yourself thousands of dollars. On large scale projects, this could mean the savings of millions of dollars. It's more accurate in the fact that you have a central model, so if you're working between several different teams of disciplines, everybody's referencing back to the same model, so less mistakes can be made there, and everything is kept up to date. You can use project phasing, so in several situations you might have an existing building that needs demolition, so you would create aspects of your BIM model with the demolition phase. And sometimes people will take projects and cut them into different phases, so you can create phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and really get a good idea as to the life cycle of the building. It's also more accurate in using for fabrication drawings. If you're making shop drawings from a BIM model, you can get a lot more accurate information and a lot quicker, and you'll know that it's going to be precise because it references right from the database. And you can also take a little bit of a break away from construction and architecture and use BIM as a very powerful game development tool. Because there's so much predefined information in Revit, you can use Revit to create game environments and then quickly load them into another program or application like, say, 3ds Max or Maya, and use the FBX exporting tool in your game development modules. Now, something that BIM has very much helped is the process of integrated project delivery, which is a new type or relatively new type of project delivery. And what it allows us to do is have multiple disciplines involved in the design from the get-go, and thus decreasing the amount of clashes and mistakes and project oversight. So why use Autodesk? Well, the answer is simple enough, but we can expand on it. The reason why we would like to choose Autodesk is Autodesk has been around for pretty much the complete time frame that CAD has been around. AutoCAD came out as a flagship product in 1982, and from there other peripheral products like ADT and now AutoCAD Architecture, MEP, and Structural Detailing surround that AutoCAD core product. So these are the beginning, or I guess you could say the initial steps of BIM. And then you have the Civil 3D product, which uses the AutoCAD platform and takes it outside to your site. Now the real core of the BIM process is probably held within the Revit applications. So in 2013 they've combined architecture, structure, and MEP into one superset. However, you can still get the Revit by discipline from the education community. So if it's only Revit architecture that you want, you can still grab that for the 2012 release from education community. We can talk about that in a little bit. Now, for further along, once you're getting a little bit more familiar with software, you might hear names like 3ds Max Design or Showcase, Sketchbook Designer. These are important applications to know about because they enhance your ability to create powerful presentations. So 3ds Max Design and Revit work very nice together in the fact that you can export your BIM model into 3ds Max and your materials will stay, the lighting will stay, and you can manipulate things a little bit further and get a little bit more higher value presentation out of a 3ds Max Design render. Showcase is a nice product for making a quick presentation. You can take your Revit model, bring it into Showcase, and show some different backgrounds, apply some different materials very quickly to give your client some options. And then Sketchbook Designer is a very powerful tool in concept development, which, as the name implies, essentially allows you to sketch on just a blank canvas, and then you can take those sketches, those ideas, directly into AutoCAD as Sketchbook creates DWGs. The last couple, Navisworks Manage and Quantity Takeoff, are more for project management phases. Navisworks is what allows you to create your Gantt charts and your project timelines and prevent different clashes between disciplines. So you'll have less likelihood of having an air duct go where a beam is supposed to be placed. And last but not least, you have Inventor, which is, most of us know, a very powerful product for manufacturing, but it does have its place in the building design implications as well. An example I like to use is Inventor might be a very powerful tool to, say, move into shipping container housing. You have one shipping container which comprises of many parts, but if you're going to use a shipping container in architecture, you might not want to have all those parts of the shipping container within your BIM model. So what Inventor allows you to do is take out the parts that aren't necessarily going to be important, and then when you import that into your Revit model, you have a fairly detailed shipping container, but it's not going to slow down your software because you've taken out all the nuts and bolts that don't really need to be in, say, an architectural plan view. So that's a little bit of background on why Autodesk is the way to go as far as using BIM, but they also provide a complete solution from start to finish. Now, as far as the BIM curriculum goes, you can access the BIM curriculum for free at bimcurriculum.autodesk.com, and we're going to take a quick look over at the curriculum itself in just a moment, but what I wanted to outline was a couple different links that we're going to see here. On the What's New tab, you'll see everything that has been recently added to the BIM curriculum website. There's a video, Autodesk Revit 2013, Integrated Modeling Helps You Shine. This is just a quick video from some of the members of the Autodesk crew talking about some of the changes that they've made in 2013 release and how it's improved the process. And then there's a PDF about Auburn University and Turner Construction and how they've basically started working together to provide a more accurate curriculum for the industry as it's evolving with the use of BIM. So to speak to that a little bit, there have been some challenges faced by the education industries in how to incorporate BIM into the learning. The challenge faced is there's so many fundamental aspects of design technology that have to be incorporated and learned before you can send somebody out into the workforce. However, when they do enter the workforce, they're going to be expected to know these new technologies that create these designs. So the BIM curriculum answers this challenge in learning or teaching some of these fundamentals of design in tandem with the software. So the last point for this slide is the West Point Military Academy, which talks about how they've switched over from Bentley Plant to AutoCAD Civil 3D and how the BIM curriculum itself has made that transition much easier. So here you can see the civil engineering page for the BIM curriculum, and as you can see, if you were to choose civil engineering as your discipline to learn, you'll see that it's depressed here on the top navigation. And then to the right, you'll see some static content that repeats throughout the website, and depending on which one of these you click on, say if it's architecture, this side section might change, but it will still be relative to the discipline that you've now clicked on. So at the bottom, you've also got some supplementary content, and this is where you'll find your data sets and your lesson plans. So let's take a quick look over at the BIM curriculum. We'll just navigate over there. So again, the URL for BIM curriculum is simply bimcurriculum.autodesk.com, and you'll land on this page here, which discusses basically what the BIM curriculum is, just a quick introduction. So we're going to skip over that because essentially that's what I'm discussing with you today. But some things to remember, the acronym, of course, BIM for Building Information Modeling, and IPD, which is the Integrated Project Delivery. So again, just to stress that, that's a more common delivery system than design build or some of the other that have become more popular with the advent of sustainability and green design. The IPT system has been adopted a little bit more frequently. So let's go over to the What's New tab, and you can see there's some news here. They've mentioned that the structural engineering curriculum has been now translated into Spanish, and there's some more stuff. Here's the video that I was just discussing, the 2013 the changes, what's new in the new Revit release. And there's a link to the education community from here. And again, some of the stuff that we were just discussing in the slide, the Auburn University and Turner Construction case study. You've got the video link for West Point Military Academy, and then the new links for the civil engineering curriculum being the newest addition. So you've also got some links that will take you to some of the unit content for the BIM curriculum. And what you'll notice when you move around these different disciplines, you're going to see some content repeat and some of it omitted. So in the structural, there will be aspects that are similar to construction, and then there'll be aspects that don't come into the picture. So we'll go back to civil engineering for the time being and just take a look at what we'll see here. So again, you've got some links for some supplementary material. This is stuff that you will come across if you go to the curriculum in order. But what it allows you to do is if you click on the interactive curriculum, let's wait for that to load, you can actually skip ahead. So there might be certain aspects of civil engineering that you're already familiar with. You don't have to go through those. You can keep on going and choose the different topics that you would like to use. So we'll just get started here. So for instance, I might have a good idea as to surveying, and what I'd like to get into is more transportation. So I'll click on transportation, and this nice interactive module will load up. We'll give that just a second more. So it starts you off with an introduction to the unit, and we'll click on the forward button. And at any time you can access your main menu from this button here. Now it's not going altogether quick, but this is because I have a lot of stuff open on my desktop right now. So again, it starts talking about some of the things that you'll be seeing in this unit, and if there's something that they recommend, like a publication, you'll see that floating over here in the right. So here's a link for the Autodesk official training guide for AutoCAD Civil 3D. So if you click on that, that'll take you to a link, or we could just keep moving forward here and look at some of the other content in this interactive module. So again, it talks a little bit more about what you're going to see in the module. We'll click forward. We'll take a little bit of a look at alignments. So some content here. It talks a little bit about alignment. Some roads were laid out hundreds of years ago. And it discusses the evolution of the discipline. So you get a bit of history, and what I was saying earlier is you do get some background information on the subject that you're studying. It isn't just here's how to use the software, it's here's how to use the software and why. So now that we're into the unit a little bit further, you'll see that there's another button over here, and I can click on these links for some related videos or articles and case studies, and this will take me to other areas in the curriculum where these things are mentioned. So if I click inside the screen again, you'll see some screenshots here from within Civil 3D, and gives you an idea as to what you'll see as you move forward with the software. So here's a page discussing some of the terminology and representations, what you might see on a set of civil engineering plans. We'll just click forward because in the next page, I believe, you'll see something really handy, something really nice. And it says click on the Show Me button to see a demonstration of creating an alignment from a polyline. So you have these two extra buttons, so the Show Me and the Let Me Try. This will open up another module here, and it gives us a little bit of a video of how they create an alignment in Civil 3D. So now that I've got these, I'm just going to close these quick. We'll give that a second to load. Are there any questions for the time being while we wait for that to load?
All good, Travis.
Okie doke.
Is it just me?
It is. Apparently the other people couldn't make it.
Cool, but I do like this whole process.
It's a pretty thorough resource. There's a lot available. I'm hoping to show you quite a bit today. The civil engineering part, I think I'm going to just get through it quickly here, and I'll show you some more tools that you'll be using specifically. So if you ever wanted to venture into this discipline, it shows you the interface for the software, and it gives you an idea as to how they apply it to what they need. So they're nice quick videos, and it's very much in line with everything else that you see from Autodesk. So this is taking a while to load. I just wanted you to be aware of what you'll see. I'm going to pause it and go back. So now that you've seen what they do, it's just like a quick little tutorial. You can come back and do the Let Me Try version, and it will take you to the exercise that's relative. Now there's a click here. Now that's for your data set. So what I'm going to do is just come back to the BIM Curriculum front page. And I'm going to move over to architecture because I have some resources downloaded that I'd like to show. I think they'll be you'll be pretty impressed. So when you click on the architecture tab, let's just get that going. You're going to get again a video that introduces you, some content that talks a little bit about the introduction of BIM, how it's come along, and again your supplementary information. So you can click right to the unit headings, or you can kind of explore and see where this takes you. So if you go to visualization workflow, it'll talk a little bit more about Showcase and 3ds Max, like what I was referring to earlier back in the slides. So we'll just click back. What I'd like to show you is a little bit of Unit 2, because Unit 1 essentially is what you would find in digital Steam. These things here are more fundamental aspects of Revit, and it's still a very powerful unit, but it's more about how to use the software for very introductory aspects of the application. So once you get into Unit 2 and on, you're starting to deal with more industry-specific practices. So as you can see, you've got the introduction and the history, introduction of architectural drawings, talks a little bit about CAD, and then enter BIM. So if we go to Unit 2, we can talk about BIM design process, and we can go to, say, project phases and phase design. I'm going to go to this one because I actually have the data set up right now. But this talks about how you would phase a project. So you have a lesson that you can read. You could have students take a look at this in the evening and then discuss it in your classes, or vice versa. Again, so you're seeing some phasing, some information, what the filters are going to look like, and just basically describes what you'd be doing for the lesson and why. So here you have your objectives, your key terms. And then if we go back to point 2, there's some lessons underneath that they can go into. So this is your landing page for the lesson. Then you go to, say, phase new construction, and it brings you to a nice video. So again, very typical of Autodesk. You're not getting anything that's too long or overwhelming. It's just going to talk about phasing and phases in design. So I think this one is all of 3 minutes or...
There is a whole class of projects that are so large and complex that they require finer ways of organizing, sorting, filtering, and deciding what information to present.
But these again, so this one's almost 5 minutes long, narrated very clear, very concise. You know that it's right from Autodesk, so it's going to be very accurate. And then once you get through the video, there's a data set that you can download here. So the exercise, it describes the exercise. But I'm just going to come over here to Revit and show you one of the exercises from exercise 2. So here's a situation. This is a file that comes from the data set. You've got a Revit model here that's got one phase. So if I select this window and you look over here in your properties box, it's saying phase created, phase 2. And then if we use the drop down menu, you can see that there's some other phases in here. So if you do define phases, you can just simply select them and change them, and you'll notice that this one now has become gray. So in this situation, they had one phase per building, but if they were, say, doing multiple parts of these buildings, you could select all these aspects and change these to phase 2, and now you'll see that these parts appear black, and those parts of the construction that were done before or after whichever phase are appearing in gray. So again, that's a pretty quick change, and the exercise is very quick. It's just more or less to illustrate the points that were mentioned back in the exercise. I'm just going to minimize that and go back. So that's lesson or exercise 2.2.2 that we just looked at. This one is talking about new construction, and then again this one is renovations. So we'll exit back out of that. What I would like to do is go back to architecture and go a little bit further down to unit 6 and show you some of the other great resources that you can get here. So this talks about a concept based on performance, and to do this they discuss Project Vasari, which right now is an Autodesk lab. So you can get those at labs.autodesk.com, and you'll see all the demo software that's being developed or tried out. Labs essentially is where they send the demos to get feedback and decide whether they're going to actually make a product out of it or not. So again, you have a case study, there's a program basis, the software and the tools that you'll need to perform this. So it gives you a link to labs, and it gives you a link to education community, so you can go download Revit architecture. And then there's some additional resources here, some videos on Vasari and how you go about using it. So when you download Vasari, if you go to use it, you're going to get these essential skill movies with the application. Now here's the real nice aspect. Complete unit instructor's guide, and then there's a student workbook to go with that. So if I come to these these PDFs I've got here, I've got a workbook open, so you'll see that it starts at page 2. You got lesson 1, 2, 3, 4, and the 60-page manual for this one unit. So it's very clear, it's very concise, and it's very complete. There's a lot in here, and again, so this is the student workbook. If you want to see the teachers, it's not much different, but there is some additional information for you. And if you like, you can actually use the PowerPoints that come with these as well. So here's Unit 6, Lesson 3. It's a little bit different. I think I had Lesson 2 open there on the PDFs, but here you have some illustrations of what you can expect to see out of Project Vasari. So yeah, it talks about energy analysis. So some pretty interesting stuff. We'll just close that one. And I actually have Vasari open here. So we'll just come over to Vasari and quickly show you how how easy you can make this jump. If you are familiar with Revit at all, you'll come in here and you'll see these items. So you'll see your dynamic dimensions that you can change your levels at. So if you change that to 14 feet, you'll see it automatically change. So this stuff is very familiar to Revit. And you can start modeling here out a mass to get an idea as to what your building might look like. So just to start, let's create a rectangle. And now that you have your rectangle, you can come to create form and give that an extrusion. You can grab faces or single lines and get some pretty neat architectural concepts pretty quick. And then if you want to add to this, you can just keep creating more forms and get some pretty good architecture out of this. So once it's all said and done and you have a nice concept that you like, you can come over to the Analyze features and establish the floor settings, where they're going to be. That's tied back into your levels. But then you get an analysis. So let's see if I can pull that up, the one that I had before. So this is just a little a sample of one that I did before. So again, it gives you a thumbnail, shows you some of the floors, and I have two of these. So this one here is the first one that I did with no consideration as to the construction. So this is kind of just meaningless right now to go through here, but say if I go to say life cycle energy cost, and then I come to my second one, my second project analysis, and I look at this life cycle energy cost. This is almost 400,000, and in the first one, this one's 530. So just by changing the building envelope a little bit and not affecting anything like the position or its orientation on site, where it's located. I did these both for Toronto, and you can see I got a pretty decent idea as to which was a better system. So again, this is a pretty handy tool. Once you're all done with your analysis, then you can take your concept and bring it into Revit and use this as a masked object to start building your design. So again, Vasari is still it's a lab, so it's a free download, and you can get those at labs.autodesk.com. So let's just take it back to the PowerPoint. Lloyd, do you have any questions before we go over back to the PowerPoint? No? Okay. Okay, so the last thing is 360, which is a new addition to the Autodesk product line. At this point, it's free, but if you do have a subscription, there's a lot of other tools that you can use with 360. So just to give you a brief idea as to what you're going to see once you get into your 360 account, you have some storage that can be 3 gigs if you're not on subscription, and then 25 gigabytes if you are. So 25 gigabytes is a significant amount of space. I use my 360 quite a bit, and I don't even have a fraction of it taken up. I think I've only got about 5 gigabytes used. So you can see a thumbnail for a DWG that I have loaded up here, and you can see where I have access to edit this online, or I can just download it. And then there's the sharing options. Right now the public share on this document is off. If I want, I can slide this over to on, and it gives me a URL that I can send to whoever I'm working on this project with. Once you get to the opening page, it gives you an activity feed, which is something similar to what you'd see on a social networking application. You've got a feed. You can filter these by month or by day, by the type of file. So as you can see here, I've got a Revit project, and I've got a video. You can put any document you want on here, really. But the nice thing about Autodesk 360 is when you put your DWGs on them, you can actually use AutoCAD web server to edit that DWG. So I'm just going to take a break over to 360 so we can see in real time what's happening. So I've got a couple videos that I've loaded. I can minimize these. Again, I can filter it by what I've done just this month, and it'll just show me what's happened in October or November. And again, if I want to download or upload, that's all from the documents themselves. So I'm going to click on, I could click here on documents and it opens up my library. And so say if I select a sample floor plan, it's going to open up a nice preview for me, and I have my options again of sharing. I can do the edit online, I can download it. For some reason it's not giving me a view, so let's go see if we can find another DWG. Let's try this AEC one here. Okay, so I'm not getting a view. There could be a plugin that I haven't updated. This might have something to do with Flash or Java, but it usually will show you a thumbnail. I'm just going to come over here to web server anyway. So if I were to take this drawing and click edit online, it would open up the thumbnail to AutoCAD web server, and I would be able to then take that drawing and make modifications to it online. So this is really nice if you're on the run. You don't have to have your laptop with you or your desktop, which has the latest and greatest AutoCAD. You can actually just come in here and do quick edits on the fly if it was something that needed to be taken care of in this detail. Then I can annotate this, and if I need to show, say, my draftsman just something minor, then I can come in and do a quick drawing that I want to see done across the board for the rest of the drawing. Something to that effect. So all your tools are here that you would see normally in the AutoCAD applications. Not all of them, but this is a pretty good version for an online application. So all your draw tools, you have your annotation, insert, you can actually insert blocks or images, and then your collaboration tools. You have a timeline for revision tracking control, and then if you want to create your sheets, you can see right now we're in model, but we could switch this over to our layout views as well. So a pretty complete solution for an online version of AutoCAD. Now the next thing that I think people really like is rendering with Revit and the cloud. So typically before, if you created a 3D view and rendered it in Revit, it would render your computer useless. Or not your computer, but your application anyway. So you'd have to walk away, grab your coffee, and hope that your render wouldn't take that long. Now what you can set up is multiple 3D views in your Revit application, and you can send them to the cloud, and in the background while it's doing its rendering, you can keep working on your project. And maybe if you're not working on your project, you're just going out or you have to leave, it'll send you an email notification letting you know that your render is complete and that you can now share it with whoever you're working with. So this is a nice feature because you can also do panoramic views. So wherever you set up your camera, it'll do a complete 360-degree render, and then you can mouse operate that panorama afterwards. So we'll take a look at the education community where you can go and grab these resources. So one thing to remember with the education community, if you want to use the resources available to you from Autodesk, register, but make sure to register as faculty, and then you can get the resources, say, from Digital Steam as well. Now the BIM curriculum resources are available. It is free to anybody that's interested. And then you can register as well on the education community to download the software, which is also free. The download will give you a 36-month standalone license, meaning that it'll activate on one computer and one computer only, and it can't be used for commercial practice. What it is for is keeping abreast of the industry and staying ahead of the curve. So you can access the education community at students.autodesk.com. We'll take a quick look over there. So again, I'm logged in here. You can see my profile. I've got some software downloaded. So if I go to my software, it's going to show you what I've already been using or downloaded. And if I want to go get more software, I come up to the top to the heading Free Software, and it'll give me the entire product listing, unless the site is temporarily unavailable. So we'll go back. That isn't all the time. Usually it is up and running. If you want to go and take a look at some webinars and maybe get some more industry knowledge, you can come over here to webinars. This one is saying that it's on maintenance too. So we'll skip over that, but know that that is available to you at students.autodesk.com. And unless there are any other questions, what I would like you to do is just take a quick look at this survey and answer it. It shouldn't take you more than a few minutes. And again, your feedback is always appreciated. We do pay heed and like to make those changes. If there's anything that you want to see, we will address it. So I'll open it up. If there's any questions, we can take a further look into some of these applications or into the BIM curriculum itself. Lloyd? No questions? Alright, well, thank you for joining us today. This is Travis Van Cleef signing off.